Hey, welcome back, everyone. We are back with another reaction. This is something a little different. This is
totally different.
I'm not sure what it is. Really, what it is.
It's basically about the new Star Wars films after Rise of Skywalker comes out because they're making more.
Yeah, this is called Star Wars New Timeline Explained with Kevin Feige film confirmed.
Yep, they confirmed the other day Kevin Feige is producing a Star Wars film for Lucasfilm.
Yeah, so I'm kind of surprised that he got involved with it. I don't know what he's going. I don't know if he's a big Star Wars fan. I know he did all the Marvel stuff and everything.
I'm sure he's a Star Wars
fan. Been fantastic so far. So I mean, if he's a Star Wars fan, maybe he'll know what he's doing. I really don't know. I haven't heard about this, so I don't know what it involves, what it is, or what he's going to say. So let's come up the other day, so I figured we would watch it and find out.
Yep.
Before we get started, don't forget to hit that subscribe and give us a like. All right, let's check it out.
Welcome back to New Rockstars. I'm Eric Voss. In the Star Wars universe, we'll now have Marvel head Kevin Feige developing a future film, making even denser the already packed Star Wars timeline, with upcoming properties like The Mandalorian series on Disney+, plus Episode 9, The Rise of Skywalker, plus announced series for Obi-Wan Kenobi, Cassian Andor, other projects in development.
Cool.
I feel like we are in desperate need of an update to the Star Wars canonical chronology, and we got it explained for you. So I'm gonna stick to the big events that are relevant to these new properties, so I may not catalog every canonical burp from Ahsoka Tano, though I'm sure her burps are awesome. Okay, the Star Wars timeline doesn't go by years the way we mark our years by revolutions of the Earth around the sun, with a calendar that uses the birth of Christ as year 0, or for some of you, I'm sure, a Mayan calendar where the world ended 70 years ago. And of course, all the Star Wars history takes place a long time ago. So for simplicity's sake, we're applying Earth years to arguably the biggest event in the Star Wars history that we care about, the destruction of the first Death Star in the Battle of Yavin. So we're gonna use that as our birth of Christ year 0. Before 0 will be BBY, before Battle of Yavin, and after 0 will be ABY, after Battle of Yavin. Okay, so we can rewind all the way back to the dawn of this fictional universe. According to Star Wars lore, it all started with a so-called wellspring of life, a force planet from which midichlorians originated. Sometime after this, ancestral beings invented hyperspace travel. The Prime Jedi established the Jedi Order and the first Jedi Temple on Ahch-2, and a dark faction of the Jedi broke off to eventually form the Sith, and that brings us to the age of the Old Republic, which was formed with its capital on Coruscant, and the temple on Jedha in Rogue One was built. 5,000 years before the Battle of Yavin, that great temple was built on Yavin 4, and then a 1,000-year war between the Jedi and the Mandalorians, the warriors of Mandalore, began.
I didn't know that.
This war would eventually ravage the surface of Mandalore, force its people to live in these domed cities, but really destroy the Mandalorians, scattering them across the galaxy, and leading to one of them being the star of The Mandalorian coming up on Disney+. But that's thousands of years later. But then we come upon the period of the Knights of the Old Republic. That is planned to be a trilogy of movies based on the popular game, and at least the first movie of which will be written by the Game of Thrones showrunners Benioff and Weiss. So jumping ahead later, about 1,000 years before the Battle of Yavin, when the Old Republic transitions to the Republic governed by the Galactic Senate. Like the Roman Republic, and these days it seems all democratic forms of government, this Senate collapsed under the weight of corruption, which brings us to the events of Episode 1, The Phantom Menace. You know the story here. Anakin Skywalker is discovered by the Jedi on Tatooine. There's an epic fight with Darth Maul, and the political drama between Naboo and the Trade Federation ascends Sheev Palpatine to Supreme Chancellor of the Senate, or as he was telling himself in the mirror those days,
I am the Senate.
10 years later were the events of Attack of the Clones, in which war breaks out between the Separatists of Count Dooku and the Clone Trooper Army of the Republic, which was actually a war manufactured from both sides by Palpatine and Darth Sidious. Smooth. Around this time is when the events of Star Wars The Clone Wars is set, both the movie and the series, in which Anakin and Obi-Wan are joined by Ahsoka Tano. The series is also known for resurrecting Maul. And shortly after this, construction of the Death Star begins on Geonosis, with plans for it seen in Attack of the Clones. 2 years later are the events of Revenge of the Sith, when the Empire comes into form. Palpatine reveals himself to Anakin, corrupts him into Darth Vader, and gives Order 66. Killing most of the Jedi, Luke and Leia are born, Padme dies, and Yoda and Obi-Wan go into exile. And then 8 years after that will be the events of the upcoming Obi-Wan Kenobi series. And we don't know much about what it will be about, but Obi-Wan will be on Tatooine at this time, and since Maul is active, the two might have an awesome rematch. Now, a year after these events is the setting for Solo: A Star Wars Story, which introduced Han Solo to Chewbacca and Lando Calrissian in a story that brushed them past Maul, though they didn't know it. Then, 5 years after that, started the events events of the animated series Star Wars Rebels, following Kanan Jarrus and others in their missions against the Empire. Also during this era will be the events of the Cassian Andor series, a prequel series to Rogue One, following the Diego Luna spy character for that movie. And that brings us to our year zero, starting with the events of Rogue One. Jyn Erso and Cassian Andor lead the mission to steal the Death Star schematics from Scarif, leading to a battle and a very close call with Darth Vader. This narrative flows neatly into the events of the very first Star Wars film in 1977. Again, we all know the story here. Luke Skywalker, Obi-Wan, Han, Chewie all free Leia and use the Death Star plans to blow it up in the Battle of Yavin, the key turning point in the Galactic Civil War. So now we are in the after the Battle of Yavin years, ABY, and 3 years after this are the events of The Empire Strikes Back, the Battle of Hoth, Luke's training with Yoda on Dagobah, and all the drama on Cloud City with Lando and Vader that freezes Han and Carbonite. Another year passes until the events of Return of the Jedi, Han's rescue in the Battle of Endor, which leads to the deaths of Palpatine and Vader and the destruction of the second Death Star and the beginning of the end for the Empire and the formation of the New Republic. But the Empire is still not dead yet. Palpatine has posthumously ordered Operation Cinder, ordering all remnants of the Imperial Navy to basically burn everything down. This culminates in the Battle of Jakku, which marks the final defeat of the Empire. Some Imperial officers do end up escaping, and they form the roots of what is known as the First Order. Now, a few years later will be the events of The Mandalorian on Disney+, following Pedro Pascal's bounty hunter character in the ruins of the Empire, and it sounds like this series will shed some light on the rise of the First Order. Now, over the next few decades, the New Republic rules, but the First Order is rising, led by Snoke. Ben Solo departs from his training under Luke and joins the First Order as Kylo Ren. Also, the animated series Star Wars Resistance is beginning during this time. All this leads to the events of The Force Awakens, in which the First Order uses Starkiller Base to destroy Hosnian Prime and several other planets, but Rey, our new hero, unites with Finn, Han, Chewie, BB-8, and the Resistance, led by Leia and including Ace Pilot Poe Dameron, to destroy Starkiller Base and follow a star map to long-lost Luke over on Ahch-2. And the events of The Last Jedi take place immediately after this. By the end of it all, Luke and Snoke are dead. Add that to the pile of bodies of Han from The Force Awakens, and the Resistance is nearly wiped out. And then technically, the Disney attraction Star Wars Galaxy's Edge is set after the Battle of Krayt in The Last Jedi, with the Falcon now parked at the Blackspire Outpost on Batuu in the Outer Rim. And then, 1 year after The Last Jedi will be the events of the upcoming The Rise of Skywalker, with Kylo now running the First Order, and it seems Rey encountering the ruins of the second Death Star, and somehow the return of Palpatine. Beyond that, we know The Last Jedi director Rian Johnson is developing a trilogy of films that might be set in a future beyond, maybe following that young Stable Boy on Canto Bight, and Kevin Feige's Star Wars movie could be set at any point. All we really know at this point is that he has approached one big-name actor to play a certain character if the deal ever went through. So which character do you think Feige's Star Wars movie will follow? Donald Glover as Lando? A live-action Ahsoka Tano film? Comment down below with your thoughts. Follow me on Instagram and Twitter at EABoss, and subscribe to New Rockstars for breakdowns of everything Star Wars. Thank you for joining me. And if Feige is working on an Ahsoka Tano movie, I feel like a burping contest needs to be part of the casting process.
I feel like there's a lot. As if I didn't know some of the stuff, I would be.
All right, we gotta break this down. Yeah. So basically, I'm trying to summarize this out. So basically, The Mandalorian takes place before the First Order rises, or well, it's like rising, but it wasn't big at the time until. This is confusing. I don't think
I didn't know. I've never watched any of the animated stuff. I know, some people who are maybe bigger Star Wars fans than I am, that they've watched some of this animated stuff. I've never watched any of the animated series, so I didn't know any of that tied into what's going on here.
Yeah.
I just kind of, I just never sat down and watched any of it.
I'm very
to this guy. It had something to do with, in between some of these movies that I've seen.
I'm curious to see. Because I know they're making the Obi-Wan Kenobi series. I'm curious to see if Obi-Wan and Darth Maul will have a match.
I didn't know that they brought him back to the animated series. So if you don't see him, I suppose if you watch a movie,
because isn't he died in the movie, didn't he?
Yeah, he died in Phantom Menace,
Episode 1. So, but now he's back.
I suppose he's back, but if you didn't watch the animated series, you wouldn't know that he's back. So we kind of take it.
This doesn't make sense though, because if Maul's back. How's Palpatine back?
Well, supposedly Palpatine, they don't know yet, but they seem to think that, Jedi, and said they don't, especially with him when he, in Revenge of the Sith?
Yeah.
When he said that he could find a way not to die. Of course, he was just talking out of his rear at the time. They say maybe he found a way to do that to keep himself from dying. Obviously, if he's going to be in it, he found a way. Or is he just a Force ghost? I don't know. Until we see it, we're not going to really know.
But if he's a Force ghost, then how can Rey or anyone even fight him? He wouldn't die because all he'd be doing is when you stab him, he basically goes through him. Nothing would happen.
Yeah, well,
unless there's a way. Unless this is my theory. Unless they bring back Luke as a Force ghost and Luke fights him, in which maybe a Force ghost can kill a Force ghost. I don't know.
But
I'm just saying.
Back in was it Empire Strikes Back, or was it? I can't remember which one it was. It was Empire Strikes Back or Return of the Jedi. I think it was Empire. I think when Ben Kenobi says that he can't help, he can't interfere, maybe because he's dead, so he's only forced.
That was Return of the Jedi.
So he can't really help.
Because after Yoda died, Luke was just sitting there, and Obi-Wan basically said, "All right, you're the last of the Jedi. I can't get involved. It's up to you. I can't fight him."
Yeah. So.
But it doesn't mean that he could actually fight him. Maybe he's just saying that because he's like, I don't want to get involved. I'm just done. It's up to you.
Yeah, maybe.
I don't know.
I have no idea.
We'll have to see when Episode 9 comes out.
Yeah, hopefully that this is better. Cause, with J.J. Abrams directing, hopefully it's better than the last one.
I heard it really is better.
It's the last one wasn't complete trash, but it wasn't good. I mean, I don't like the way that
they went in the direction.
Yeah, I don't like what they did with Luke. That was pretty terrible. At the beginning, when he takes the lightsaber and throws it, he wouldn't have really done that. I mean, come on, that was kind of stupid.
Luke's character is supposed to be like the good guy. He's supposed to be
yeah, he's kind of a miserable hermit. He didn't want to be left alone. But
yeah,
I don't know. It just seemed kind of the whole thing was.
And then he wants to end the Jedi Order for good, so he tries burning everything, and Yoda basically stops him. And Yoda's basically saying, look, you're the last of the Jedi. You're the only one left. It's like you have to keep it going.
Yeah.
But this film that's coming up, what's the guy's name that's in the Silent J and Bob reboot thing? What's the guy? Kevin. What's the guy?
Kevin Smith.
Yes, yeah, Kevin Smith. Yeah. He got interviewed and he actually got to visit the set of Star Wars, and he compared it to Avengers Endgame, saying that this movie is going to have basically the direction Endgame went. So basically it's going to have the definitive ending and closure. So, I don't know. I mean, are they... Because I've been hearing rumors that the Jedi who died in Order 66, they're supposed to be in this film too. But I don't know. I mean...
I guess we'll just have to wait and see.
If it's true, then I hope they bring them back in an awesome way.
Yeah, it'd be pretty cool.
Yeah.
Anyways, this is kind of an interesting video. Kind of a lot to take in when you sit back and hear it all, told to you. I mean, I've watched a lot of the Star Wars stuff, so it's kind of a lot to listen when somebody else is telling you how much is going on, especially when they add the animated series to it.
Oh, yeah, I agree.
Another one, and Star Wars Resistance, I didn't know they were making another one.
Yeah, me too. The only animated series I knew was Star Wars Rebels and Star Wars The Clone Wars, and that was it.
Yeah. So... it should be interesting.
The Mandalorian, that's another thing. Next month it's out.
Yeah, the stuff with Disney Plus looks really good. I mean, Disney, they're not making this stuff small budget. It's big budget series that they make, which is good because not many streaming services have large budgets. They make their small budgets, so the effects aren't that good, and it just looks kind of cheesy. But the Mandalorian look really good. I'm really excited to just see
because but the guy that plays Happy Hogan, he made it. John
Favreau.
Yeah, so I think it's going to be really good because apparently they say The Mandalorian's so good that they're already filming season 2 for it.
Yeah.
It's not even out yet.
Yeah, but it's going to be excellent.
Yeah, definitely.
Anyways, this was pretty interesting to watch and hear all this.
Yeah.
But before we go, don't forget to hit that subscribe and give us a like. Until next time.